Oh, yeah. Paul the Pipe Guy here on a very late night Sunday night. It's actually 11:15 p.m. and I don't know, I kind of ate dinner around 4 o'clock and laid down for a 3 hour nap. And so I'm not really tired right now. Yeah, so we have this Cape Woody Super Grain. Yeah, it's about 5 inches long. And that is a 100-year-old pipe. And look at the briar on that. It doesn't have bird's eye or anything, but it's just beautiful briar. This one I didn't polish up, but really, other than a little teeth chatter, just a tiny bit, uh, just a tiny bit. It's almost in pristine condition. So it's a little small smoker. I guess they call that a Lovett style. I don't know. Let's set it on fire. And we've got some Cap'n Boomers. Yeah, Cap'n Boomers. This from Watch City Cigar. And this was gifted to me by Mark Hill. Yeah, on 11/30 of 2023. Yeah, let's set it on fire. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I gotta do a video with a 100-year-old pipe. Stage it in an area of my home that really could look 100 years old, and have the only illumination would be oil lamps, like antique oil lamps. That'd be cool. The thing I love about estate pipes, especially really old ones, you wonder in the 20s or 30s who bought that pipe. I would just love to be a mouse in the corner to see the guy walk in, pick out this pipe, observe his mode of transportation, whether he had a car, whether he walked, whether he rode a horse, and then watch him light it for the first time. Yeah. So, yeah, I spent a little money today on my pipes and tobacco addiction. uh, I was browsing through and I saw this collection of 12 vintage pipes. Plus, it came with a vintage pipe rack that holds 10 pipes, which I do need another pipe rack. So I started bidding. I didn't snipe this one. I just put in $100, which basically is nothing for, well, it's 12 pipes, 12 vintage pipes, plus the vintage pipe holder that holds 10 pipes. So I put the bid in for $100. I won it for 89. Plus, the shipping was reasonable for 12 pipes and a pipe holder. $23 to ship it here wasn't bad. I didn't think so. All in all, I'm into it with shipping, the cost of the, auction I won, and tax. It's $120. And, I really studied the pipes in there. They didn't have individual pictures of the pipes or whatever. And, a couple, two or three of them looked like junkers. But it looked like there might have been one or two K-Woodies in there. And some of the other pipes I didn't recognize. But find out when they get here, they're bought and paid for. So, yeah. And these pipes need some cleaning up. I mean, these are like, this is the best of what I love about vintage pipes. When you find a vintage pipe or a group of pipes that just look like they've been smoked and loved and used, but nobody ever really took the time. The owner didn't care or notice, that these pipes were getting dirty. I mean, like the stems all have just a ton of oxidation on them. The briar on the pipes, they look dried out. The inside of the bowls that I could see looked like they had a ton of carbon buildup. So that's kind of what I love to do, Come home after work, I mean, a lot of those guys, they didn't care, man. If you had a pipe and, you're smoking it and smoking it and smoking it for 10, 20 years, 30 years, and it gets all oxidized, which is kind of a brownish color or a white color. A lot of the guys' spit would dry on the end here and it would turn it like a yellow color. And a lot of those guys, they didn't care. They just, they just kept smoking them. So I'm looking forward to that collection coming in. And then I bought a 14-inch church warden pipe that we're gonna, with a nice case that we're gonna have in our giveaway. We're gonna give away 2 pipes and a Damascus jackknife. Man, this Cap'n Boomers is good. Oh yeah. Well, it's 11:30. I got to get up at 6:20, which means if I was asleep by midnight, I'd get a little over 6 hours of sleep. But I did have a 3-hour nap. I should be good. Yeah, look at that. Watch this cool video on YouTube tonight, and this guy was building, I forget exactly, a bushman's living area outside. So basically what he did, he dug a square hole about 4 foot deep, I would say probably by 6 foot long, 6 foot wide. And just a simple little thing to get you out of the you know, elements. And what he did is he took little branches, made a roof. Then he covered the roof with leaves and dirt. Then he went and got big pieces of moss, covered the whole top with moss. Something that I think you might see in Ireland or something, you know. It was kind of cool. And then what he did is for the front of it, because he basically dug it out and the front was open. And so then he took sticks and he pounded them down in real close together, made a doorway about maybe 2 foot wide. Then he shoved moss in between those sticks. And then he made this little door that he wove up onto with hinges on it. Then he dug out this little cubby hole, you know, about that deep into the side of his, you know, man cave. Dug upwards for a chimney, and so he was able to have a fire inside of there with a chimney, so he got warmth. And he was able to cook things on there and everything. That was a cool video, man. You know, I remember when we were in the Boy Scouts, and I don't think you could do this these days, but we would go to the Adirondacks and then we'd go on a 50-mile canoe trip through the Adirondack Mountains. We'd paddle down Long Lake, and at the end of Long Lake, that was almost a whole day trip. We'd come up and there was a little beach and sand cliffs and stuff, and then you'd climb up there, you know, pull your canoes up on the beach, just a little cove. And then what we would do is we'd go in there, and we didn't bring tents. So there was, at the end of Long Lake, there's a huge rock. It's like monstrous. I mean, it's like probably 60 foot wide. It sticks out of the lake and everything, and we used to jump off of that in the water and stuff. It's basically like a big boulder. And so after that, we'd go up and we would prepare our own lean-tos. So what we would do is we would take, you know, being in a pinewood forest, we would cut the boughs off, the branches off. And if you take that and basically you make like an A-frame out of wood, you know, that you cut from trees. So you got 2 sticks coming down this way, and then you've got a small log or branch that goes across with 2 sticks that way again. So you're forming like a little teepee type of thing. And then what you do is you take the big pine boughs, big pine branches, and you put them over. Now, there's a certain way that you put them over. You put them over with the needles facing down, all right? So what that does, you get a couple layers of that on there. It could be a torrential rain shower, raining like cats and dogs. Well, that rain will go on the pine needles, goes down to the first layer, second layer, third layer, whatever, and it just keeps running down the pine needles and the branches to the ground. And we, you know, basically we had waterproof lean-tos. It was pretty cool. I can't remember what I put in this. This was one of those bowls that I bought that tasted like really bad, like just sour, nasty, old. Tasted like an old basement or something, you know. So what I did is I reamed it out totally down to bare wood. And then I took Everclear and just kept going over it with a pipe cleaner. I took Everclear, put a pipe cleaner in there, let it soak in there for a couple hours, bristled everything out, and seems to have gotten rid of that nasty taste. It just tasted like an old cedar chest, you know? But she seems to be all good now. That one, I think I got that for $20. So I've got to get more pipe racks here. I do have a vintage pipe rack that holds 36 pipes. And I was sitting on a chair one time down, and I tripped off the chair, and I broke it in half. A $300 pipe rack. So, you know, I'm a woodworker and stuff. I can glue everything back together and make it really look like nothing ever happened. Oh, yeah. Man. Glad that taste has gone out of this pipe. It was terrible. So if you get an old vintage pipe, all right, you clean it up, this and that, and you get this weird taste out of it. You know, like this additional bad taste to your tobacco that you don't get in other pipes. What I do is, step number one, I ream the entire bowl out. I take all the carbon out with a jackknife. Ream it down to bare wood. And then what I do is I take the Everclear, which is like 98% pure alcohol, or just find the highest alcohol content vodka that you can find. After you ream it all out, soak a pipe cleaner in there. Push it right down into the pipe, all the way in. Soaking wet. Be careful not to get any on the finish or it'll take it off. And when you do that, you let that soak in there for an hour. And then you just keep working it back and forth, working it back and forth, working it back and forth. That alcohol is going to draw some of the tars and that out of the briar. And you're going to clean any tar that's inside of the pipe. And then what I do is I go inside of the freshly reamed bowl, you know, just soak the end, you know, soak it about 2 inches down with, you know, Everclear. I like Everclear, or any alcohol that's really high alcohol content. And just go around inside the bowl and just wash that out. A lot of times that'll get that taste out. It'll de-ghost your pipe. Having a ghost in your pipe is like having someone else's tobacco that they smoke. They may have smoked a weird aromatic or whatever. and that taste doesn't leave the pipe. Unless you do something about it. And that would be step one. If that doesn't do it, you got to do a salt and alcohol treatment on it. But most of the time, what I described to you works. Well, I'm Paul the Pipe Guy. I'm going to get ready for bed. I'm going to be sawing logs here in about a half hour. Yeah. So this is our late Sunday night smoke together. Paul the Pipe Guy over and out.